This is Daddy Show. Step off.
Hey, what is up? Welcome to the program. Thank you for tuning in. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Tom Clark, and you are listening to Tom Clark's Main Event. This is episode number 17 of the podcast, and if you're just joining us for the first time, welcome aboard. If you are coming back for another listen, or if you've tuned into the broadcast before and you follow me online, thank you as well. Thank you to everyone out there tuning in, of course. And we will extend to you the customary Laurel and Hardy handshake. Thank you for your support as always. We're coming to you, as we do every time out, from the very lovely and spacious Boink Studios here in the great state of North Carolina. That's right, folks. Crockett Country is still very much alive and well. This is the land that Flair built. That's right, folks, from top to bottom. Always going to be old school. You know, I got to throw the old school stuff out there at you, right? That's how I roll, man. That's who I am. It's what I do. We're not going to waste a lot of time here, folks. We're going to get right into the program this time around. The main event is NXT Unstoppable. That's right, folks. When I started the podcast last year, one of the things I said from the get-go is that I didn't want this to be like a preview show or a review show. But in some instances, I make exceptions to that rule, okay? And this is one of them because for those of you out there who tuned in to NXT Unstoppable recently on the, that's right, folks, WWE Network, on May 20th, 2015, you saw one of the best events that brand has ever experienced, that they've ever put out. WWE gets it right when it comes to NXT, folks. If you don't have the network, shame on you. You can't call yourself a pro wrestling fan if you don't have it. Can I just be straight with you right now? It's worth $10 a month. If all you do is just watch one pay-per-view, you've paid more than paid for it. Okay, bottom line. All right, that's just down to brass tacks, folks. That's how it is. And trust me, I'm not on WWE's payroll here. I have nothing to gain by just working you and telling you this stuff. But it's very much worth the price of admission. If only for NXT, okay? So for anyone who's not watching NXT and you keep hearing the hype and you keep saying, yeah, whatever, dude. Tom, how great can it be? Well, guess what? You're missing out, man, because it's not great. It's very great, okay? They're just killing it, man. NXT is killing it every week. It's just the best show. Some of the best pro wrestling you're going to see on your TV is on NXT. I'm telling you right now. WWE, it just gets it right. It has the feel of a separate promotion, its own individual brand, its own individual company, actually. But at the same time, it's WWE influence from top to bottom. And you know you're watching a WWE product in terms of how it's produced, how the segments are put together, how the look is very polished, the side of the ring the guys play to, where the cameras are, that kind of thing, the rant, the pyro, the entrance music and all that has a very WWE feel to it because it is that company. But at the same time, it does feel like a really, really nice indie promotion that's done very well. Okay? And speaking of indie promotions, for all you indie snobs out there, and you know who you are, okay, that refuse to watch WWE all because that's not pro wrestling. I watch the indie circuit because it's much better wrestling. I'm such a snob. You know who you are, man, okay? You're the same people that continue to call Dean Ambrose by the name Jon Moxley because you can't let it go, all right? And it's just Seth Rollins is still Tyler Black. Oh, he's Ring of Honor long before he's ever WWE. Stop. Please stop. You're making me crazy, okay? Just a little bit. It's ridiculous. These guys are who they are. It doesn't make a difference what company they work in, what their working name is. Are they making it? Did you like them back in the day? Did you support them in Ring of Honor? Why can't you support them now? Okay, I've been in heated debates before with guys who refuse to watch NBA. Oh, it's too much Showtime. They've sold out. It's too much Hollywood. They don't really play the game. Their fundamentals are lacking. Okay, but you supported that guy in college from the year before, but you can't support him now? Seriously, man, when the guys make it to the majors, when they make it to WWE, don't stop supporting them. I'm not saying you got to go out, you have to buy the network. I'm not saying you have to buy their merch. I'm not saying you have to live and die, eat and breathe WWE 24/7 all the time. No one said that, okay? All right, seriously, all I'm saying is don't forget who these guys are just because they start working for Vince McMahon. To me, in my opinion, that's just a little silly. All right, just from where I sit, okay? Just being straight with you. But again, NXT has all the feel of indie promotion with a lot of money behind it, but you know it's obviously a WWE product. It's very much worth their viewing, okay? No matter what week you're talking about, and whether it's a special event or just a regular episode, doesn't really make a difference, man. They've got so much talent, so much going for them in that little brand, that as far as developmental areas go, it's got to be the best that company's seen in a long time. I'm just being straight with you. So let's go ahead and get into this, folks. NXT Unstoppable, now that I've advocated WWE from top to bottom, you're welcome, Triple H. So NXT Unstoppable, folks. The card opens with Finn Balor, the world-traveled, world-renowned Finn Balor, I might say, defeated Tyler Breeze, and now Finn's the number one contender of the NXT Championship. If you've never seen Finn work, shame on you. You're not a pro wrestling fan. Forget about WWE Network and all that, and the company and all that other stuff. If you've never seen Finn work, it's disgrace. Watch this guy. He's very good. Okay, and not only is the match good, but the theatricality, his entrance, is worth the price of admission. Okay, really quick here, Finn is one of those talents that doesn't need a title. Okay, if he never wins the NXT Championship, I don't think anybody's going to cry about it. I don't know if he would even be upset about it. Okay, he's a lot like Bray Wyatt in that regard. Okay, Bray's been called the Undertaker of his generation, or that he will eventually become the Undertaker of his generation. Not as much in it in that he carries everyone he wrestles. He's going to build the company. He's leading them through Monday Night Wars. He's a headliner. He's a main event. I don't know about all that. A lot of that stuff has to do with the future and what he could potentially do in the next several years. But I'm talking about in terms of character, in terms of presentation, in terms of who he is as a worker. Bray doesn't need a championship. Okay, the same's going to be said of Finn, because Finn is an attraction. Okay, much like Mankind, much like Undertaker, much like, if I can go back a little while, Exotic Adrian Street. All right, an attraction, the entrance, the people standing on their feet. Like, what am I looking at? Okay. That's who Finn is. Finn gets it, man. He is Showtime. He's not just a pro wrestler, and by the way, a very good worker in the ring, a very good pro wrestler, folks. He really is. You have to see this guy work. I can't say enough good things about him, but he completely gets it. He buys in. He knows what it means to not only put on a great show, he knows what it means to get over just by hitting the ramp. He's completely into his character. And the best thing about Finn, WWE didn't give him this. WWE didn't start painting him up. He was doing this years before he got to WWE, because Finn knows. Finn knows that there's more to it than just the wrestling in the ring. This is not the 1980s NWA, as much as I would love it to be, if I'm being straight with you. You know I'm old school, right? I told you that. You don't listen? As much as I want to be the old school NWA in the 1980s, it's not going to happen, okay? Today's fans want something more. There's a lot of distractions out there. There's Xbox, there's Hollywood, there's movies, there's DVDs, there's digital media, social media. There's so many things to keep fans distracted. They demand more from their pro wrestling product these days, okay? And you guys know that. You're smart, right? So Finn gets that. He knows it. He knows it's about putting on a show, okay? Very much the carnival the carnival experience of what the business started out as a sideshow attraction. That's not to put him down in any way, okay? It's a really good thing. It's a compliment. Okay, this guy gets it. Okay, he's going to be a star for years to come in WWE. As long as he stays healthy, as long as the booking is right, Finn Balor's the future. People talk about Seth, and he is. So is Dean, and yes, so is Roman. Sorry for you haters out there. He is, okay? But Finn he's going to be monstrous. He really is. And this is to take nothing away from Tyler Breeze. Tyler Breeze is a good old-fashioned Gorgeous George heel. Okay, he is. And am I tired of that gimmick? Sometimes I am, because very few guys can really own that and really kill it. Gorgeous George, of course, primary among them. There's been several others through the years who could carry that, like, sort of, flinging the hair back and very suave and very conceited and self-absorbed, as Tyler is. There's a lot of guys that have been able to pull that off really well and really make a great go of it, and that's their character. That's who they are. You know what I mean? Ravishing Rick Rude had some of it. Gorgeous Jimmy Garvin in the NWA had some of it. So, I mean, a lot of guys have done that through the years. Tyler's really good at it. He shoves it down your throat, because that's what WWE tends to do with a character. They shove it down your throat. They tell a guy, be really good at this one thing and don't stop doing it. Okay? And that's fine. I'm not disputing whether or not it's over. The crowd loves him. Put him on Raw right now. I don't know if it would work, but you know what? That's the case with a lot of stuff happening in NXT right now. We can get to that a little bit later. But anyway, folks, it was a good match. It's a very solid match. Finn's entrance was amazing. If Finn defeats Tyler Breeze, he goes over. He's now the number one contender of the NXT Championship. Is he going to win it? I don't know. But at the same time, whenever he channels the demon, as they call it, I think he can go over on anybody in that brand. Okay, that means he would have to go over on Kevin Owens to become an NXT champion, because Owens ain't losing that belt anytime soon, man. He's their Brock Lesnar. Okay, he's their guy right now. Okay, so Finn would have to go over on him. Is that going to happen? I have no idea right now. I still don't think he needs it, but he could end up with it. Who knows? Let's move on, folks. The next match on the card: Charlotte and Bayley defeated Emma and Dana Brooke. There's something to like about each woman in this tag team match, and check this out: a women's tag team match that, guess what, gets over. Let me repeat that in case you reached for a candy bar, okay? A Divas match, a ladies match, tag team match that gets over, okay? Why? Why? Because the talent involved, number one. Number two, they're allowed to tell their story. The fans can become emotionally invested in it, okay? I recently published a piece, for those of you who are taking notes. There's going to be a quiz later, so pay attention, stay awake for this, all right? On May 23rd, on my blog, which you can find, by the way, at tomclarkbr.wix.com/blog. No, I've not bought my own domain because I'm cheap and lazy. But the title of the column is Divas Totally. And it goes all into mostly the two Divas matches, women's matches, from NXT, and the growing disparity between NXT and WWE in terms of the women's divisions, okay? And how it's just utterly ridiculous at this point, how NXT's putting on a great show, WWE's Raw and SmackDown, not so much, okay? It's really two different worlds, man. But that's what we're looking at. A Divas tag team match on Raw, no one cares. Okay, the girls are given 5 minutes, take it home. That's it. And it's based largely on throwaway feuds, very contrived, silly notions and angles that no one cares about. By the time the match is over, it's like the match never even happened. Why? Because there's no lasting ramifications from it, okay? And NXT is a whole different world in a lot of regards, but especially, maybe more so than anything else you could point to, the women's division. Because number one, fans care. Number two, the company seems to care a lot more. Why? I don't know. I would love to tell you I know. I mean, I consider myself smart about this stuff. I don't sound stupid, right? I mean, but I don't know. Maybe the thought is let's get 150% out of them. And that way we know they can do it. They get to the main roster, they can just coast and not have to do anything. Well, how many of these women do you think really signed up for that? How many of them really signed up for, I just want to coast and not work hard in the ring? Are you kidding me? I don't know how much we see anymore of women coming to WWE just to be supermodels later on. I don't know how much that still exists right now. Oh, this is just going to be a side project. There's women in that company that really want to be there because they want to be wrestlers, okay? Charlotte Flair, for crying out loud, folks, an Extra Boy's daughter. Even if she weren't, who cares? Because she's so good in the ring. She's a natural. Okay, in every sense of the word, she's a natural. That's why fans care, because the women care. Am I suggesting the women don't care on Raw and SmackDown? Maybe. Maybe not. Let's be honest about it, folks. Who's to say? Who's to even know at this point if they care or don't care? Because WWE's not going to let you in on it either way. They're not going to tell you either way, man. Because they're not giving these girls enough time to do anything at all, period. And that's the bottom line, okay? So as long as that's the case, the women's wrestling NXT is going to be head and shoulders above anything else you're going to see on Raw and SmackDown. And that's it, and that's all. And praise the Lord, and pass the offering plate and move on to the next thing. That's the Southern Baptist in me coming out. Did you catch all that? Anyway, it was a good match. Again, it got over. The wrestling in it was top-notch because it always is with the women down there. And it was well done from start to finish. Moving on, folks. Baron Corbin, NXT's resident bad boy and biker and everything else that you want to say, faces the veteran Rhino. Now, a few things have happened as a result of facing Rhino for Baron Corbin. Baron is turning heel, and Rhino's gotten over again. That dude only has to hit the ramp, and he's over. Because, Rhino's no nonsense. He never cut silly promos. He was never made to look ridiculous or goofy. He's just full out, man. He's 100% to the wall. He just, hard as nails, comes at you like a pit bull. Well, like a rhino, you know what I'm saying? Just headbutts you and just goes straight at you and just puts his head, like Tyson back in the day, puts his head down and just goes to the gut, man. And it's hard to pull against a guy like that, if I'm being straight with you. It's really hard to hate on a guy like that. So he's got the nostalgia aspect, yes, but at the same time, man, he's over because he's good, because he's always been good, because he's just, it's hard to root against a guy like that. Do you know what I mean? So Baron goes over on Rhino at Unstoppable. Why? Because that's the way it's supposed to go. Okay? I mean, I understand Rhino's a veteran, but veterans do the job. And that's not always the case, of course, but for a guy like Baron who's coming up, yeah, that's the case. Do you think Rhino had a problem with it? Do you think he did? No, he didn't. Stop it. Okay? Not everything is, well, it's not fair. They made him do a job, Baron. It's not fair. Would you stop? Seriously, how's a younger guy supposed to get up in the world of pro wrestling if all he does is lose to veterans every night out? I mean, part of the veterans' job is to help other guys get over. It was done for Rhino, right? It was done for the veterans, so they have to give back. They don't have to be happy about it all the time. And you don't want to insult a guy like Rhino and make him go under to somebody that, really maybe shouldn't. He's not been there long enough. I mean, you have to be reasonable in your expectations of what you want these guys to do, but at the same time, again, we're talking about the future. Baron has to go over in this match. It was a good match. I don't know how I feel about Baron in terms of, how long can he work a match? I mean, I think he's good, but I don't know if he's that good. And it's nothing personal against him. I don't know if we've seen him enough against technically sound wrestlers like a Daniel Bryan, like a Seth Rollins, who are able to go that extra mile with him to see what he's really capable of. He's rough and tumble. He's a great little brawler. I'm not disputing that, but I'm saying put him to the test against a Seth Rollins for 20 minutes and see what he can do. Do you see what I'm saying? Does he have to be carried, or can he make it believable and keep you hooked the entire time, or is it all going to be on Seth? You see what I'm saying there? So I don't dislike Baron. It's no disrespect to the guy at all. I would just be interested to see what he could do beyond the brawling. I mean, that's all I'm saying about that. So we'll just see what happens. I think facing Rhino is good for him. We just talked about the brawling, right? But Rhino's a veteran. He can get in the kid's ear and help him out a little bit as he goes. I think it's a good thing for him. But again, Baron does go over in this match. Okay, folks, moving right along here to the next match on the card. The NXT Tag Team Champions Blake and Murphy, which to me sounds like two police officers who are partners, but that's kind of besides the point. Blake and Murphy with their girly haircuts. Please don't hurt me, guys. The NXT Tag Team Champions, by the way, take on and defeat Enzo Amore and Colin Cassidy. And this, just like Finn, maybe not just like him, but very similar. If you've never seen Amore and Cassidy, man, are you missing out. You talk about fun, entertaining. They make you want to stand up, and they make you laugh. They're very funny, and it's the whole New Jersey accent, the vibe, the words, soft and all that. Man, it's good stuff. I'm not disputing that. And I, for one, enjoy their work. I think they're a good little tag team. Colin Cassidy's a hoss, man. He really is. I mean, he's, they work well together. The gimmick is over. That crowd in NXT absolutely loves them. Again, like with Breeze, put them on Raw Monday night. Would they get over? I don't know. If they're in Jersey, in New York, oh yeah, of course they would. But anywhere else, maybe not. But that's a work in progress. I mean, getting to the main roster is a big deal for any of the people in NXT. So I mean, it's just a work in progress for any of those guys. So we'll see what happens with them. But as of right now, they could be the hottest act besides Finn in NXT. They're really good. I mean, they're just funny, again, entertaining. They know what it is to get over on the mic and to make a show of it and make a spectacle themselves. And it's fun. Again, man, it's just fun to watch them. But they do not win the tag team championships. Their quest to become tag team champions has still not been realized yet. But, they have to be considered a highlight of NXT. Blake and Murphy are a good little heel tag team, that's smiling and they kind of take you off because they're so happy. But, they're good heels. They're a basic heel tag team. They kind of remind me of the Basham brothers just a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that they lack a lot of charisma or anything. They've got charisma, but it's just, they're a very fluid tag team. They're good. They're solid. You know what I mean? So they work well together. Again, good heels. You can hate on them and just have fun doing it. Overall, a good tag team match. There was sort of miscalculation on Cassidy's part at the end, which makes me question at some point if Amore's not going to get up in Cassidy's face and say, man, you lost us the match. What's going on? And then you're going to eventually see these guys split up. Is that a good thing? Honestly, for Cassidy to go singles and pursue the championship, I think it'd be pretty good for him. Does the company like him? Vince has always historically liked the big guys, even though you're looking at Daniel and Seth and Dean, getting featured very heavily. It has been the case for a while with Punk and guys like that. But, I think Vince will always have a soft spot in his heart for the big guys. So I think Cassidy is there's always going to be possibility for him to go up from here. It'd be interesting to see what they did if they did split this team up. But again, it would be a shame because I'm telling you, man, they're so funny. They just work well together, and it's just a good act all the way around. I'm a big fan of both those guys together for sure. Amore's just a comedian, straight faced comedian. It's good stuff. Trust me, man. Again, you got to check it out if you haven't seen it. Next up on the card, folks, and can I be straight with you right now? I'm watching this match as we speak on TV on the network. Thank you very much for only $9.99 a month. That's right. You like that or what? I swear to God, I'm not on WWE's payroll. Please trust me on this. I'm not working you. It's not some clever ruse to get you to believe that I'm just independent contractor. I am for sure. Okay, I'm just making a point. It's very affordable and they're very budget conscious. Okay, moving on. I am watching this match as we speak because number one, I can. Because number two, it's good. Oh my God, it's so good. You have no idea. Or then again, maybe you do. Maybe you've seen it. If you have, kudos to you. You saw a great match, okay? This was not just the best ladies match on the card on NXT Unstoppable. This was one of the best matches on the card, period. Okay, male, female, doesn't make a difference to me. It was a well-worked, well-paced match. There were good bumps in it. There were logical bumps in it. These girls didn't kill themselves because they didn't have to. And I don't know this for sure, but I would dare say it was an easy match for both of them in terms of they both cooperated with each other. They got along very well in the ring. They were very fluid. Their chemistry was just off the charts. They worked hard, but at the same time, in terms of, oh man, I had to carry her, I had to make her look good, that didn't happen, man. Both these girls gave 110%, and it absolutely showed. This is what a pro wrestling match is supposed to be, okay? I'm not, am I overselling this? You don't believe me? Go watch the match. It was good. Okay, and it's not getting kudos from everyone online and everyone on planet Earth right now, for that matter, because it was two women. It's getting applause and it's getting recognition because it was a really, really good match. Because again, it was top notch. It doesn't matter if it was male or female. Again, who cares? It was one of the best matches that I personally have ever seen from that company, and one of the best matches I've personally seen in a while. Okay, how's that sound to you? And trust me, folks, I watch a lot of wrestling. Not just WWE, I watch a lot of wrestling. In a week's time, it's crazy, all right? And that's the truth. It was so good from top to bottom. Becky Lynch has won me over. I liked her anyway. I love her now. She has a new look. It's the steampunk look. She's got the goggles, the orange red hair. I mean, it's just beautiful. Just everything clicks with her. She has found her look, okay? No more just, oh, I'm a pretty girl with the hair. Nah, stop it. This is her look. This is what she's supposed to be. It's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. Sasha is Sasha, and everything Sasha touches turns to gold because that's who she is. So she was completely in her element. I love the dichotomy between the two. The girl that she took her under her wing, and now Becky wants the title. It's a great little give and go between the two. Sasha's arrogant, she's cocky, she's conceited, she's everything that Tyler Breeze is, and so much more. Except Sasha makes it look effortless. She doesn't make it seem like she's shoving it down your throat, man, because she's so natural at it. And again, talk about a gimmick that fits, just like Jake the Snake Roberts was supposed to have been who he was. This is who Sasha's supposed to be. If you dress her up as anything else, call her anything else, make her do anything else, I'm not saying she wouldn't be up for the challenge, but I'm saying it may not work because this is who she's supposed to be. And both these girls in their element, both of them very good in the ring, man. They brought it. Again, I'm watching it right now for like the 6th time in 3 days. Such a good match. Such a good match. This is what women's wrestling, this is what fans want out of women's wrestling. And again, I'm referring back to the column I posted on my own personal blog. Okay, and again, if you want to look it up, it's called Divas Totally, published on May 23rd. Okay, but referring back to that again, fans want the women to do well. Okay, and there's some clowns out there, there's some idiot guys out there that just want to maybe see a wardrobe malfunction or see how far up, Nikki Bella's trunks can go straight up her backside. That's all they care about, okay? Me, am I a guy that loves beautiful women? Well, yeah, duh. At the same time, I want to see the wrestling. You see what I'm saying? I haven't been 18 in a long time, man. Do you know what I mean? I want to see some good quality wrestling. If you're going to get in the pro wrestling ring, you're going to be on my TV, I expect you to wrestle, all right? I don't care if you're male or female. Give me something, okay? If you're in there to look pretty, you're in there because your hair is a nice color red and you can wave to the fans and smile, look like you're kind of half dead. Eva Marie, if that's who you are, that's great. Please get out of the ring. You're wasting my time. Go back to your little reality show and leave me alone, okay? Because I don't need you. I really don't, and I don't want you either. Just trying to say, man. These girls are not like that. They're bringing it. They're bringing it harder than anyone on the main roster is bringing it, okay? And the Bellas have gotten very good. They've gotten a lot better than they used to be. They've come into their own. They carry that division for what it's worth, okay? There's some talented girls. Paige, I love Paige. What we saw between Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks and Stoppel, I'm telling you right now, man, again, one of the best that you'll ever see. You have to check this match out, okay? How good was this? This was... Brace yourself, folks. This is a big statement from yours truly. This was Flair Steamboat kind of good. Now, keep it in perspective. It's not the territory days anymore. These girls didn't work a 45-minute match. Keep it in perspective, okay? I'm talking about in terms of quality of the match, making every move count. There was no wasted movement. There was no downtime in this match, okay? At no point was I sitting there going, where are they going with this? Okay, as I am with a lot of other matches from that company, if I'm being straight with you. All right, this match never had that feel to me. It was 100% from start to finish a real event for me. It felt natural. It felt like it was supposed to be happening the way it happened. If one move had been in a different place and a different time in the match, maybe it wouldn't have felt right. But this match was just, it was as close to perfect as you could get for that brand, for that company. Are you impressed? Is that good stuff? Go watch the match. Quit depending on me to tell you. Because you think I'm just, working you anyway. I'm just being straight with what I saw, man. Very impressed with this match. Folks, I'm going to tell you right now, there's a reason why it was a semi-main event. Can I be straight with you? Okay? This match could have been the main event. It could have. It could have been the main event. And I think no one would have had a problem with that whatsoever. But there you go, folks. Sasha did retain the women's championship. Did I mention that to you? It's kind of a big deal, okay? She did retain the championship. But let's get to the main event, okay? Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens. This was the best that Sami's ever looked against Kevin, in my opinion, okay? The best he's ever looked against Kevin. In NXT. Rewind, for all you indie snobs out there. He's El Generico, Tom. He's El Generico. And it's Kevin Steen, Tom. Fight, Steen, fight. Would you stop? Would you just stop? I mean, I'm glad you're listening, but dude, get a hold of yourself. Deal in the here and now, says the old school guy who can't let go of Crockett Country and Ric Flair. Ahem. Sorry. Okay, so, all right, but again, I think this was the best that Zayn has been allowed to look against Owens in terms of having the match. He took a lot of this match. He really did. And it was a nice change of pace because Owens has just, battered this dude to no end since they've been feuding in NXT. It's the truth. He gets the better of Zayn all the time. But Zayn took a lot of the whole first, 2/3 of the match belonged to Zayn until he got caught. Okay, he got the flip up in the air, power bomb with the back on the ring apron. Same spot that supposedly put him out to begin with. And Zayn got hurt. They worked the injury and all that good stuff. And again, we've come back to that. And once again, when it happens, we're back to the same old shtick of Zayn cannot come around. Okay, he's trying. He cannot come around. They can't get him to respond. There's officials, there's trainers, there's referees. Now, here's what I'm saying, okay? And again, this is no disrespect. This is no disrespect to Sammy or to Kevin in any way, shape, or form. They are as good as you're going to get in professional wrestling in the United States at this point. And that's the truth. That's the truth. Quit looking around. They're among the best you're going to see in this country right now, in my opinion. Okay, but at the same time, that company continues to make Sammy look like he cannot carry the ball. Like he just keeps coming up short. Like he's, I don't know about injury prone, but susceptible to getting hurt because his body can't stand it. In my opinion, Sammy's a half step away from being compared to Daniel Bryan by the Authority. That's just the way I see it. And if I'm wrong, so be it. But I don't know where they're going with this. I don't know where they're going right now with Sammy continuously getting, his lunch handed to him. I mean, honestly, all the time, man. It's crazy. And I just want to see Sammy end a match on his feet against Owens. It's not happening. I mean, what's more important to you as a booker? Making Owens look like you're Brock Lesnar or making Sammy look like he can take care of himself? Because right now it looks like Sammy did really, really well against Neville, who's smaller than him, but against Owens, who's like tough and burly, he can't do anything. And to me, that's a shame because Sammy's so good. Is the drama there between these two guys and the storyline, the past, and the history, and you've got, Owens saying he's doing this for his family, yet he's despicable in his actions? Well, yeah, there's a lot of drama, some intrigue to that. Kind of a twist on how a man stands there and says it's for his family, but then he goes out and does things that, anyone would despise. But that's a heel, though, man. Let's don't forget, folks, that a heel's logic is unlike your logic. A heel's logic defies description because it's unlike anyone else's logic. Because it doesn't matter what you think, all right? The only thing that matters is how they see the world. It's the same deal as like supervillains in comic books. They don't know they're supervillains. They think they're doing the right thing, okay? So when Owens comes out and he talks about his kid and my wife, you can't take this away from my family and stuff, but yet he demolishes people and he breaks the rules, you're not supposed to understand. You're supposed to hate it, okay? It doesn't have to make sense to you. It only has to make sense to him. It's much in the same vein, in my opinion, as Jesse Ventura doing the heel color commentary back in the day. The way he would call it made perfect sense. Maybe not to you, but to him because he played the part of a heel. That's why he understood it. He didn't pull for the heels because he was supposed to. It's because he had the ability to look into their psyche and understand where they were coming from and understand what it was they were trying to do. So obviously he sided with them. To me, it's much in the same vein as Owens, is that what he says versus what he does are kind of two different things. It doesn't really make a difference. All right, about the yin and yang of it all. It's just that he gets it. You don't have to get it, but it just ticks you off because you don't understand it to begin with. You see what I'm saying? And it makes you mad. It's supposed to, and there's nothing wrong with that. Okay? But there again, folks, Zayn gets destroyed. Owens is a great heel. There's no question about it. He's their Brock Lesnar. Will he ever be as big as Brock? That's open for debate, man. That thing could go on all day and all night. He's definitely experienced. He's got everything to back it up. He's got 15 years in the business, as he said against John Cena on Monday Night Raw recently, and everything it takes. And by the way, speaking of Cena, it was a great touch, man. Owens comes to the ring against Zayn wearing John Cena's T-shirt and takes it off and throws it on the floor, which was a nice touch. they've evidently got big hopes for him because they had him come out against Cena. He steps in the United States title. It's a big statement. You could hear the crowd. They audibly reacted. They popped off of it, which is good. Okay. And hopefully Owens is going to be somebody in that company besides being NXT champion when he gets called to the main roster, whenever that's going to be. In terms of this match, again, good match. I'm glad Sammy got to take some of it. But the fact that he once again ends up on his back with that look on his face, like he doesn't know where he's at, like he's got a concussion, like he's not just physically hurt, but mentally hurt. He doesn't even know what his last name is at this point. I mean, seriously. Again, a lot of me is okay with that. A lot of me's not, because it keeps happening to him. And to me, he keeps looking weak as a result of it. If I'm wrong here, so be it. We can debate it if you want to. We can talk about it, whatever. But to me, in my opinion, I don't think Sammy came out of this match looking really good at all. Owens looked great. He always looks great, and that's fine. Again, no disrespect intended to either guy here. Maybe this whole thing's going to play itself out and it all makes sense 3 months from now. Who knows? But for right now, I'm questioning what the point is with Sammy. Is he supposed to be such a sympathetic baby face that he's going to get destroyed every time he faces somebody tougher than him? I don't know. The jury's still out. We'll wait and see. But again, folks, Owens goes over because Sammy can't get himself going, and the match ends, and he's still a champion. That's great and everything like that. But the big story coming out of this match, okay, if you don't know, now you know, Samoa Joe, baby, is in NXT. Is that something, or is that something? By the way, Joe looks amazing. To me, Joe looks the best he's ever looked in the whole time I've ever watched this guy. He looks fantastic, and he fits in NXT. Okay, I had some questions. I was one of those guys, maybe one of the first guys to say he needs to go straight to the main roster, and I still think he can. But there's nothing wrong with him going to NXT. He made it very clear he's willing to do business with that company, and whatever they want him to do, he's willing to do it. Well, he's doing it. He shows up at the end of the match, and basically saves Sammy from any more of a beating than he took. It gets up in Owens' face. Owens leaves the ring. Is this going to be the next great rivalry in that company? That's a great question, man. We'll have to wait and see. But, again, it was unexpected. Some of the scuttlebutt coming online right now is that Triple H was very impressed that all the men and women in the locker room were able to keep their mouths shut about Joe's presence. No one tweeted, no one hinted around, no one sold the information to a website or nothing ridiculous like that. I hate spoilers, by the way. If you write spoilers, then shame on you, because you're ruining the show for everybody. Okay? Boo to you, I say. I call shenanigans on that nonsense. But again, Joe's presence, no one knew he was there. It was a great touch. I mean, Kevin Owens, he's their Brock Lesnar. He's their Samoa Joe at the same time. Okay, he's running Joe's gimmick. Now, Joe's there. What are you going to do? Interesting that you asked that question, because on May 21st, yours truly, on TomClarkBR.wix.com/blog, published a column. Isn't that annoying? I'm having actually having fun with it. But a column I posted on May 21st entitled, Joe's Gonna Kill You. Joe's going to kill you if you don't read this blog. How about that? Do you like that or what? He's not really going to kill you. He might slap you around a little bit, but he's not going to kill you. It'll be okay. You'll bump for Joe, right? It's cool. But in that column, I discuss at length what he's going to do, that he has to be babyface, and now that he's in NXT, especially because Owens is already kind of running the gimmick. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. Joe's good. No matter what you have him do, he can come out on live TV and read the phone book, cut a great promo, and he'd get over with it. He could wrestle the Invisible Man in an hour-long match and have you compelled, because he's good. He's an oddity in terms of a guy his size should not be able to do what he does. Get up off his feet. He's very dynamic. It's hard to take your eyes off of him, because he's just so interesting. He's so intriguing. He's so intense. You know what I mean? He's a great combination of a lot of different factors, is Samoa Joe. He's going to be very good in that company. Again, to me, a lot of it goes back to what we've been saying since this podcast started. How are they going to be when they get to the main roster? It all lies in the booking, okay? The booking has to be right for Joe. And the key to that is, who among the little group of WWE Creative has a feel for who Samoa Joe is? Because if they don't have a feel for him, if they're not familiar with his work in TNA, they're not going to look into it. Well, it doesn't matter, he's here now. You have to know who this guy is. If you don't understand him to his core, you're going to screw him up, okay? And no disrespect to the late Umaga. Umaga's gimmick worked and he made it work, and that's great. But if you take the boots and the socks off Joe and paint him up, you're going to be doing him a great disservice. He doesn't need to do that, okay? And that's no disrespect to any Samoan workers that came before Joe to that company either, okay? You do what you got to do to get over. Do what you got to do to get in there and make a difference, make an impact, and make your name. And that's totally fine. Nothing wrong with that. But Joe doesn't need to do any of that stuff, man. He's such a unique act. He's such a different kind of character, such a different kind of gimmick. He doesn't need all that Islander stuff. You know what I'm saying? He just doesn't need it because he's so different. He's an MMA kind of guy. He's very shoot fighting kind of idea. And, you know, for him to be out there in that company now to work some of their talent, maybe guys he's never worked before like Owens, dude, that's a really big deal. You know what I'm saying? That's a really big deal for him and for that company. And again, if the booking is right, Joe's going to be a huge star for that company, not just today, but tomorrow and in the future. Hopefully the next several months to the next couple of years, you're hearing Samoa Joe's name mentioned among the main event stars of WWE. Can he do it? You better believe he can do it. If you don't think he can do it, you're out of your mind. You're fooling yourself. Okay, I would say he's got a better shot and a quicker shot at it than Owens does. That's just my take on it. But I mean, if you think about it, man, the NXT is a brand. They're not grooming these guys to work each other when they get to the main roster, despite the fact that Neville's going to work Bo Dallas now, it seems. They're grooming these guys to all go to the main roster with each other, okay? There's so much talent in that company right now, there's not going to be like a 6-month to 2-year gap in between guys going up. That's not going to happen because they got so much talent. These guys are, and honestly, being straight about it, they're only getting older. Now, you would hope that you get better with time, and that's great. I'm not disputing that, but I'm saying that their windows of being, you know, really main event level. I'm not saying them are long in the tooth. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, if you're mid to early 30s, and you're there, then if you're lucky, you've got 10 years. If you stay healthy, you keep your nose clean, you do everything that's asked of you, you play ball with them, you get over, you make some money, improve your worth. Then you're lucky, okay? Your fingers crossed for 10 good years in that company. I know maybe that sounds like a lot to some people, but to me, I don't think it's unrealistic at this point, okay? I really don't. But let's say it's 5. You don't want to buy 10, buy 5. 5 years is still a long time as well. But if you really want to do that, then you got to get these guys moving. So Zayn, Owens, now Joe. Finn, get these guys up there, okay? You don't want to deplete the NXT roster where no one cares about it anymore because they still got a brand to sell in Florida and tickets to sell and merch and all that stuff and prep guys, get them ready for the next step, next evolution of their careers, okay, next phase. But at the same time, you got to get Raw and SmackDown and keep them going. John Cena, speaking of getting older, John Cena's only going to get older, man. Orton's only getting older, okay? The main event level guys are disappearing. Daniel's on the shelf again. CM Punk is gone. Chris Jericho is less than part-time. Triple H is working once a year, as is Undertaker. Stone Cold ain't coming back, okay? If The Rock comes back, he'll come back for a couple matches, and that's going to be it. That company has got to move on. Shawn Michaels is gone. Edge is gone. DX is history. NWO's ancient history. It's over, man. You got to start moving ahead, okay? That's the whole point of NXT, is to move the main product ahead. Move Raw and SmackDown ahead to the next level. John Cena can only carry that company for so many more years until the next phase has to take place. And that's what you're seeing right now with Owens getting in Joe's face, Joe getting in Owens' face, Sami Zayn, Finn Balor. These guys are the future. Charlotte, Sasha Banks, Becky Lynch. They're the future of WWE as a company, man. On TV, they are, okay? So that's what you're talking about right now. And Joe's going to be fingers crossed as a Samoa Joe fan, which I am. I'm a fan of any guy. Let me just get this straight. Let's set the record straight right now. I'm a fan of any guy that's willing to go in there and put his body on the line to entertain me as a fan. Okay, he could be a great worker or a decent worker. He could stink it up every time he's out there. But if he's got enough respect for himself and for the business as a whole, he's going to give his best effort every time out. And if he's still improving, so be it. Okay. But if they're going to go out there and sacrifice their bodies to entertain me, I got a lot of respect for that, okay? I want these guys to succeed. I need WWE to be successful because I'm a pro wrestling fan. The news recently, kind of getting off subject here a little bit because it's time to soapbox. Welcome to another edition of Soapbox with Tom Clark. Isn't this going to be fun? Don't tell me you're not having fun, because you're working me if you do, okay? So, part of my soapbox rant this time, and here it is. News recently online, it's all the rage. TNA supposedly being canceled by Destination America, okay? They dispute it. The network disputes it. Meltzer's saying that, yes, absolutely, that it's the truth. You know what? By the time you listen to this podcast, that rumor could have been completely debunked, or it could be proven to be true, or maybe we still don't know. But for everyone out there who's celebrating the possible demise of TNA on television, shame on you, because you are not a pro wrestling fan. Shut up. And don't tell me anything about, oh, I watch Ring of Honor, it's so much better. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. You indie snobs who hate on any promotion that gets commercial, shut up, okay? You're not a pro wrestling fan. You're a fan of that little tiny promotion that you watch, okay? Good for you. You're not a pro wrestling fan, okay? TNA, for as much as they've done wrong, for as much silly things they've done in the past several years, and they've done a lot of silly stuff in the past several years, made questionable moves. Some of their booking has just been atrocious. Who's disputing that? Am I? Not at all. I'm not disputing any of that, man, okay? I'm really not. But for me to sit there and want that company to die a slow death, there's people in that company that feed their families by working in the ring. By, again, sacrificing themselves, putting their bodies on the line each and every week to make you smile, to make you happy. Whether you are or not, up to you. But you have to respect the effort, okay, that company has made to try to get better. That the men and women, if you don't like the company, it's fine. But don't be hating. Don't be hating, yo, on the talent. You can't do that. You're not a pro wrestling fan. Shut up. I'm sorry. Shut up. I don't wish any ill will toward anyone in that company. As a pro wrestling fan, I want them to succeed. I need them to. Because if they succeed, if WWE continues to be successful, if Lucha Underground can get their feet under them, go for another season, get some more financial backing, and really make that thing work, that's good. If Ring of Honor continues to do what they do, that's good. You want to know why? Because it means that pro wrestling in this country is getting a more solid foundation. If another one or two companies can come up, Global Wrestling, Jeff Jarrett's promotion, don't know what he's doing with it, it's up to him, whatever. Okay, who knows right now? But I need that to be successful too. Why? Because again, as a pro wrestling fan, I want my sport to survive. I want it to be here in 10 years. I want my 6-year-old to have something to watch in 10 years besides history on the WWE network. Okay, I want him to watch real current product, to appreciate what's happening right now. For him to have his heroes like I have mine, okay? And for me as a pro wrestling fan, the only way for that to happen is for these companies to be successful, honestly. And TNA is one of those companies. Like it or not, they are. So that's Tom's soapbox for this podcast. I hope you had fun, because I sure did. By the way, the soapbox is brought to you by Tom Clark's Main Event and Tom Clark Online. And next time I'll come up with a wittier catchphrase for you. I'll write it down. I am a writer. I'll come up with something better. Okay? Promise. But there you go, folks. NXT Unstoppable. A very, very good show from start to finish. I was very impressed with everything that happened. Top notch. These guys have a lot to prove. They prove it each and every week that they're on TV. They're so good at what they do. A lot of highlights from this show. Again, if you haven't watched it, do yourself a favor and watch it, because it was top notch. Maybe the best takeover that I think I've personally ever seen. And maybe that's debatable. Maybe you've got your favorite. To me, this was my favorite. I really enjoyed it. If only for Finn and for Lynch versus Banks. You have to go watch that match. Go watch it. Don't listen. Finish listening to the podcast. Subscribe and download and read my stuff. Then go watch the match. Deal? Deal. Excellent. Well done. Now, episode 16, changing gears. Episode number 16 was the Payback preview. Okay, Payback has taken place, and I did not do a results show for that particular event. So let's get to the results show, shall we? Let's get right down to it. And we're going to do a really quick rundown here, folks, because by now you've already read it or you've seen it or both, and you know what happened, and you either loved it or hated it or you were indifferent to it. So, all right, man, here you go. You had Curtis Axel doing the Axelmania bit, coming out dressed as Hogan with Damian Sandow. Curtis Axel recently called me a moron, by the way. It was in response to a column I wrote for Bleacher Report, and I'm going to be straight with you right now. I meant no disrespect to Axel. I never set out to disrespect anyone. And if he took it that way, and apparently he did, my apologies, because it was not meant that way at all. Just my own personal analysis of it, and he evidently didn't agree, and that's fine. We don't always need the people we write about to love what we do. We just need the readers to be able to read it and comprehend it and either love it or hate it and give us their feedback. That's really all I want. So again, I hate that it happened. So just from me to you, no disrespect intended to Curtis Axel. I thought the piece was actually ended on an upbeat for him on a good note because he's finally getting over. And it's a shame that he's using somebody else's gimmick, but you know what? Do what you got to do, man. It looks like he's having fun to me. Isn't that what pro wrestling is? You know, all the pressure on these guys to get over and all that stuff. I mean, it to me, he looks like he's having fun. Now, they did lose the match, okay? They did lose the match to the Ascension. And it was kind of an oddball tag team match because you had essentially the Road Warrior ripoffs in the Ascension. Please, Connor and Victor, don't hurt me. I'm just making a point here. You look good in NXT. You didn't look like Road Warrior ripoffs to me. They get you to the main roster. They paint you up and put shoulder pads on you. Hello, Legion of Doom, Hawk and Animal, just trying to make a point. Okay? But the Ascension go over on Curtis Axel doing Hulk Hogan, Damian Sandow or Macho Mandow doing the Macho Man Randy Savage. It was a kind of a really, really strange thing. It was like a gimmick battle royal to me. Really strange vibe to that match, man. Really odd. A couple of the matches that to me just didn't really do much for me. R-Truth versus Stardust, mostly because the build-up was terrible for this. And I'm a fan of both guys. I thought they could have done much better with a longer build-up. If there was a title hanging in the balance, that would have been so much better, but there wasn't. And I think R-Truth, in my opinion, is one of the most underrated performers that the business has ever seen, especially that company, because they never gave him anything to do. Cody Rhodes still has a whole career ahead of him. Don't know where the whole Stardust thing's going to end up. Everyone assumed it was going to be Stardust versus Goldust in a big pay-per-view setting, and like WrestleMania, actually. And, you know, I don't know. But, I mean, Cody's really good. R-Truth is really good. It should have been a really, really fun, exciting match. I was okay with it. I wasn't really in love with it, if I'm being honest with you. Okay, so it was nothing that, for me, set the woods on fire, if I'm being straight about it. Okay, that was just my own opinion. But it did what it did, and it is what it is. The New Day come out. Okay, the New Day defeat Tyson Kidd and Cesaro in a 2 out of 3 falls match. They retain the tag team championships. The New Day is the breakout act of the year. Can we be straight? No one thought these guys were going to get over, least of all me, if I'm being honest about it. But they've gotten over. They're fun. It's entertaining. You know, let go of if you haven't seen them since they turned heel, give it another chance because they're funny. Xavier Woods is much funnier than I think anyone had any idea about. But I mean, they've gotten over, man, and it's fun to watch right now. So that match took place. Again, it was entertaining. I had fun with it. Cesaro and Kidd look really good together, becoming a well-oiled machine, if I'm being straight about it. You also had Neville, who defeated Wade Barrett, or King Barrett, by countout, because Wade Barrett refused to go on with the match. Neville's an NXT standout, of course, former NXT champion. Comes up, they're giving him what they're giving him. A lot of people have a problem with it, but honestly, I think he looks pretty good right now. That they keep calling him the new sensation, which is weird. Seems to me that's something that commentary would say, and not every time they announce him to the ring. I mean, I don't know, pressure, right? Hey, Neville, we're going to call you the new sensation every time you work a match. And he's like, really? Do I have to be? Can I just be Neville? You know what I'm saying? The pressure is on, man, but it's cool. But, Neville does go over. What they're going to do with him from here on out, who knows? What the future holds for Neville. Again, it's the same with any other NXT star that ever comes up. Who knows what's going to happen with him? The jury's still out, in my opinion. But as of right now, he does look good, and I'm okay with it, what's happening. There's been some criticism toward him, but personally, I'm fine with it. You have Naomi and Tamina in a throwaway match against the Bella Twins, which didn't mean anything to anybody. They gave the ladies a little bit more time this time. But man, what a huge difference between this match and the tag team match at NXT Unstoppable. Huge difference. And this one's no disrespect against any of the women in this match either. They gave a good effort, but I didn't care about it. You want to know why? This match didn't mean anything to me. I still have a problem buying the Bellas as a babyface act, if I'm being straight with you. They've done everything in their power to get over his heels. Now I'm supposed to love them again, and for what? For no good reason whatsoever, because they decided to come out and start waving and smiling to the fans again? I just don't get it. But there again, folks, therein lies the horrendous booking of the women on the main roster. Once again, they're missing the point. They're missing the boat. This just, to me, didn't feel right at all. The match, again, it is what it is. I mean, if you liked it, fine. If you didn't like it, fine. The actual work in the ring was okay. I was fine with that. But in terms of captivating me and just sucking me in and making me want to see it, I didn't really care about it, if I'm being honest with you. And that's a shame because they are just as much as the men are. These four ladies got in the ring. They're putting their bodies on the line for you, for your entertainment, and that's great, and I do respect them for it. I just wish that things could click together better for them on the main roster. And to me, in my opinion, no matter how much money it brings in, how many ratings it brings in, no matter how many times Eva Marie ends up on the cover of some other magazine that has nothing to do with pro wrestling, I don't think Total Divas is doing them any kind of great service at all. That's just my opinion. It's not doing the Divas any favors. Just my take on it. But this match ends with Naomi and Tamina. Naomi, who's on a new heel turn with some of the most wretched music you'll ever hear. It's a tie between her and Bree's music. Terrible music. Oh, good God, it's terrible. Oh, they stink the place up, both of them. It's terrible. But Naomi's making a good heel. There's that much. Tamina's back, which that's a good thing too. They look pretty good together, family and all that stuff, and that's great. But again, I really didn't care about this match. If I'm being straight about it, and it's a shame that I didn't. I should. I just don't. Moving on now to the Eater of Worlds, Bray Wyatt against Big Hungry, the big guy, Ryback. This match for me was so much better than anyone thought it could be, myself included. I thought Ryback brought everything he had and looked really good. And no, I'm not making this stuff up. I was very impressed with the big guy. I thought he and Bray looked good against each other. It looks as though this feud may or may not be dead now, which is a real shame because a column I wrote after Payback was over, for Bleacher actually, stated that Ryback and Bray deserve more time. They do. They deserve a couple more matches, in my opinion. I thought they looked really good together. The chemistry was there. I think the crowd popped pretty well for it, all things considered. I thought Ryback looked really good. Bray does what he does. Ryback stepped his game up, in my opinion. I predicted he would need to. I think he did. If you only saw the match one time, I advise you to go back and watch it again and come back and tell me what you think. I'm not saying it set the woods on fire in terms of Flair versus Steamboat. Okay, I'm not saying that, but I do think it was much better than what people are really giving it credit for right now. I thought it was a well-worked match from top to bottom. But Bray Wyatt did defeat Ryback. Bray needed the win. He got the win. Ryback needs a win. Don't know if he's going to get one, but he's still a work in progress. I think he's much better now than he was before. And again, during this match, I thought he brought everything he had. He looked like the main event star that company wanted him to be against CM Punk when he was still green and still learning. Okay, I think he's gotten so much better since 2011/2012 when they started bringing him up. I really do believe that. I think he's gotten so much better, man. So, I mean, the future is good for Ryback as long as if he stays healthy, keeps his head on straight, and doesn't listen to all the idiots who keep chanting Goldberg. Please get a life, by the way. Please stop. You're making me crazy. But I think he's going to be just fine. I don't see any problem with it at all. But Bray Wyatt did go over in this match. You've got, here we go. And this to me, it's one of those matches that I could have took it or left it. And this was John Cena versus Rusev in an I Quit match, which didn't have blood because it can't. Lana's turning babyface now. I don't really care about that part of it. But, Cena wins the match because Lana claims that Rusev says I quit in his own native Bulgarian, which essentially turns, Rusev against her. Now we're going to play all that out. I'm done with this feud. I'm glad it looks like the company's maybe done with it. That's good too. Let's move John on to the next thing because I don't really care about this anymore, if I'm being straight about it. I think they did what they could do against each other. They did as much as they could do without blood and took it as far as they could take it without getting way too ultra super violent. Okay, there were spots in this match that didn't make any sense to me. The pyro with Rusev going over on the entranceway didn't make a lot of sense to me because he wasn't burned up physically, I guess. But it is what it is, man. You expect stuff like that to be a big loud pop bang, but no physical injury or contusion or anything like that, which is a shame, but that's just kind of how it is with them. But Cena delivered the kind of match he always delivers. Rusev is a great heel who's only getting better, in my opinion, so he's a big monster heel. But to me, this match didn't really bring it home to me in terms of, oh man, I have to go watch this match again. It was so good. I mean, just saying. But again, there were matches on the card that did make me interested in watching. And again, one of them, of course, was Ryback and Bray Wyatt. Another match that really delivered for me in terms of intensity and action was Sheamus and Dolph Ziggler. Sheamus did go over on this one. This was a follow-up to the Kiss Me Arse match, the highly regrettable Kiss Me Arse match from Extreme Rules, which, by the way, wasn't a bad match. The ending was just horrific and just ridiculous. I like Sheamus. A lot of people can't stand him. I like him. And who doesn't love Dolph? The way he sells and the way he just outshines every time he's in the ring. I think these guys look really good against each other. I think they brought it. I think they mesh up and match up well than anyone ever could have dreamed possible. I was a fan of this match. And I hear a lot of people saying otherwise. I don't really care. I was entertained by it. I thought they looked good against each other. I think the heat is good between these two. The fact that Dolph got color at the end of the match, accidentally, of course, because they won't allow these guys to juice anymore, of course. But I thought that just added to it. It just added to the intensity and to the drama of the match. I was actually really a big fan of this bout. I hope that they continue this feud for a while. I really had no problem with it whatsoever. That's just me talking. And you can take that for what it's worth. Everyone's got their own taste in what a wrestling match should be and all that good stuff. But to me, I thought it was really good. That leads us up to the main event, which, by the way, was very good. And I'm hearing reports and reading reviews and hearing people say they didn't like this match either. I don't know, man. I think Payback's getting a bad rep. What do you guys think? Seriously. But the main event match, of course, Seth Rollins retained the WWE World Heavyweight Championship in the Fatal 4-Way against his former Shield compatriots, Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns. Then, of course, Randy Orton was along for the ride. This match was good. You had a little mini Shield reunion, which was very cool, and it looked as though they were on the same page until, Dean's smile faded and he and Roman turned on Seth, and it was, the crowd felt it. They felt every part of that. The reunion part and then them turning on Seth, they're fine with that too. Seth is such a good heel. He's a good worker. He's a good heel. Best heel that company has right now, man. Pound for pound, by far. When's the last time? Let's be straight about this, because I know the answer. Do you know the answer? When's the last time the best heel and the best worker, the best mic worker were all the same guy? In my opinion, CM Punk. The best heel / best worker / best mic guy in the company was CM Punk. Now, in my opinion, I think it might be Seth Rollins. His mic work isn't what Bray's is and isn't what Heyman's is, honestly. But pound for pound, I think Seth Rollins is the real deal. He's everything that company wants in a top heel. He's a great worker. He can get it done in the ring. He can get it done in practically every way. I mean, the guy is red hot right now, trying to defend the title against several different challengers. Reigns is constantly breathing down his neck. Ambrose is always a presence right there in his face all the time. And, Seth Rollins is the smarmy, cocky, overconfident, self-entitled heel champion. He's being protected by Triple H and the Authority. All this stuff fits him so incredibly perfectly. I mean, just to a T. And he plays the part so well. And it's really hard to beat him at this point in terms of entertainment value. You just want to see him get the crap kicked out of him, which, you can't really ask anything any more of your top heel or of a heel period, really, is the ability that he has to make fans truly hate him and that they want to see him get hurt. You know what I mean? But at the same time, he's very entertaining. So while people are hating him, they respect him. And that's part and parcel of being a guy that can get it done in every key area that really matters in his career and to the fans who are watching him and to appreciate his work from top to bottom. And Seth is that guy right now. I mean, by far. So when you really come down to it, WWE is in great shape right now in terms of its main event. But when you go to Seth, you've got Roman chasing after him. Dean's right there. Randy's still in the picture. It's unfortunate that Daniel's hurt. Brock Lesnar will be back probably by SummerSlam this year. So WWE has options there. They've got the younger talents, the newer guys who are coming up and pursuing the championship dreams and things of that nature. So they're in good shape in terms of that. But as we said before, the WWE, NXT, the company getting ready for the future. And that means that for the next several months to a couple of years or so, you're going to see more and more fresh faces come up, more guys who've never been on that main event level in the past. come to fruition, and these guys are going to start working each other. You're going to see different sorts of talents on that main event scene. And it's a plus for that company. It's what led them ahead of the pack during the Monday Night Wars, which kept them fresh, kept them innovative, kept them on the cutting edge of the business. I mean, they were featuring younger guys you never heard of, when WCW was still leaning on the senior tour of professional wrestling. Okay, and it's one of the reasons why that company shut down and would never come to be again, is because they refused to cultivate new stars and go with the future, whereas WWE was all about that. So again, we talked about the differences between NXT and the current WWE product, especially where the ladies were concerned, and how there seems to be two different sorts of companies happening here. If WWE can ever get on the same page and pursue the main roster with the gusto and enthusiasm and heart and drive that they seem to be pursuing NXT with, this company is going to be untouchable. They are now, really, in a lot of ways. But I'm talking about overall entertainment value from end to end and being bulletproof in terms of, okay, fans can criticize, fans can hate, but it would be extremely hard for them to look at anything on the main programs and say, oh, I hate this, they're dropping the ball. When you look at NXT and they're doing so many things right, it's extremely hard for anyone to hate NXT. If you can do it, I don't know how you can. If you can find something about NXT that you can't stand, or that you feel like WWE's not doing the right thing with, please drop me a line and let me know. Okay, interesting segue there, because we're ready to wrap it up here, folks. So if you've got something to say, you want to debate a topic, you want to come at me with something, you know how to get a hold of me, folks. You can follow me on Twitter at TomClarkBR. You can also drop me a line via email at tomclarkbr@yahoo.com. Okay, I'm always there, which, by the way, I recently got some hate mail. Just a word to the wise, if you're going to take the time to send me a piece of hate mail, or no matter what kind of mail you want to send, I like love mail too. That sounded creepy. How about support mail? That'll work. How about that? But if you're going to take the time to send me some hate mail, please know the difference between your and your, okay, as in apostrophe R-E. Can we please figure that out? Punctuation is a must. A good grammar. I'm not saying you have to be, you don't have to be a literature professor, an English teacher. I'm not saying that, but please word it to where it doesn't look as though maybe a 5-year-old wrote it. My 6-year-old can write better than some of the stuff I've got recently. So, no one's perfect here, folks, least of all me. My opinions are going to maybe not match yours. My views may not match yours as well. Some of the writing I turn in online may not be your cup of tea. Some of my podcasts may not be what you're down for, and that's fine. It's okay to have differences. I have no problem with that. I've never went after anybody tooth and nail because they didn't believe the way I do. It's a little ridiculous to do that. I mean, it's, I've got my way of thinking. You've got yours. If we match, great. If we don't match, that's great too. Let's just agree to disagree. But folks, I'm open for debate. Let's talk about it. Let's discuss it. Let's chew on it. Get that stuff out there in the open and see if we can come to some sort of common ground. If we can't, well, we'll just agree that I'm right and you're wrong, and then we'll just move on. That was a joke. Not really. All right, folks, that's it for me. Thank you for listening. This has been episode 17 of the podcast. We're going to be back real soon with episode number 18. And again, much thanks to everyone out there who's tuned in. Please continue to follow me online. And as always, we will see you back here really soon for the next episode of Tom Clark's Main Event.